So Tucker Carlson has been a hot topic of conversation lately, mainly due to his abhorrent antics on his night show. But with all this going on, I came across a video that kind of went viral again of Jon Stewart thoroughly handing him his ass to his face. And so I just want to bring that back and relive this moment. You've probably seen this video before, but just watch it again because it's so amazing.
I think you're a good comedian. I think your lectures are boring. Let me ask you a question on the news.
Now, this is theater. I mean, it's obvious.
No,
how old are you?
35.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So this is...
No, I know.
So
You're right. No, let me just go. No, come on.
And listen, I'm not suggesting that you're not a smart guy, because those are not easy to tie. But the thing is that you're doing theater when you should be doing debate, which would be great.
No, it's
not honest. What you do is not honest. What you do is partisan hackery. And I'll tell you why I know
John Kerry on your show, and you sniff his throne, and you're accusing us of partisan hackery?
Absolutely.
You've got to be kidding, man.
You're on CNN. The show that leads into me is puppets making crank phone calls. What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm just saying, there's no reason for you, when you have this marvelous opportunity not to be the guy's butt boy, to go ahead and be his butt boy.
Yes,
It's embarrassing.
I was absolutely his butt boy. I was so far. You would not believe what he ate 2 weeks ago. You know, the interesting thing that I have is you have a responsibility to the public discourse, and you fail miserably.
School, I think.
You need to go to one. The thing that I want to say is, when you have people on for just knee-jerk, reactionary talk...
Wait, I thought you were going to be funny. Come on, be funny.
No, I'm not going to be your monkey. Go ahead. I watch your show every day, and it kills me.
I can tell you love it.
It's so painful to watch. You know, because we need what you do. This is such a great opportunity you have here to actually get politicians off of their marketing and strategy. Yeah, it's someone who watches your show and cannot take it anymore. I just can't.
What's it like to have dinner with you? It must be excruciating. Do you lecture people like this, or do you come over to their house and sit and lecture them, and they're not doing the right thing, that they're missing their opportunities, evading their responsibilities?
If I think they are.
Look, I wouldn't want to eat with you, man. That's horrible.
I know, and you won't. But the thing I want to get to...
We did promise naked pictures of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, we did. No. Let's get to those.
Why can't we just talk? Please, I beg of you guys.
I think you watch too much Crossfire. We're going to take a quick break.
No. Look,
hold on.
please.
We've got commercials.
Please.
Next, Jon Stewart in the rapid fire.
Please
Hopefully he'll be here. We hope. We think. And then, did U.S. soldiers refuse an order in Iraq?
Okay, so that absolutely never gets old. And what makes me happy is that no matter what happens, no matter what Tucker says, no matter what he does in the future, that video will always exist. That video of him thoroughly getting his ass handed to him by Mr. Jon Stewart. So let's get into this. So Jon basically just called him out for what he was, a fake. He called what he does on that show, I think it's called The Crossfire, or it was called The Crossfire. It no longer exists. I believe it got canceled. He called it theatrics. He said that what they do was partisan hackery. He called them partisan hacks, I think. And he's entirely right, and that doesn't really need to be debated because it's true. But basically what he was saying that they were squandering a great opportunity that has been bestowed upon them to provide the public with meaningful discourse about political things and social affairs and what have you. And they weren't doing that. In fact, they were doing the opposite. And while he's right, I would give a rebuttal to Jon Stewart and say they were actually fulfilling their duties correctly in what they were doing on that show. Because number one, that show was meant to be what it was. It was meant to be the partisan hackery that he so correctly described it to be. And number two, in order to get the meaningful discourse that he was advocating for there, you would need actual serious people that actually believed in something, okay? Then you would get that kind of discourse. Tucker doesn't believe in anything. No matter what he would want you to believe, he doesn't believe in anything. He would have you to believe that he's this right-wing populist, maybe anti-imperialist these days, although he supported the Iraq war in the past and supported the war in Afghanistan in the past and numerous other things. And now all of a sudden he's anti-imperialist and anti-war. Give me a fucking break. We're not going to even going to get into how he, denies white supremacy or denies the fact that systemic racism exists. Okay, these are just a few of the idiotic things that he said. There's a long list of them, and we'll be here all day if we dissect every single one. But he's a fraud and he's a fake. He gets on his TV program and he puts on a mask and he dances around for the people that watches him, and he doesn't do anything meaningful for the public as it pertains to political discourse. He doesn't add anything substantial to actual prevalent conversations that are currently being had and conversations that need to be had. He doesn't do anything in that regard but spew propaganda and make people hate him. I mean, that's really it. And that is indicative of corporate media as a whole. You know, they don't challenge power. That isn't their purpose. It's called corporate establishment media for a reason. They toe the line for the establishment, Tucker included, no matter what he wants you to believe. They expand the bounds of conversation only so far as to what they deem is acceptable by not only them, but the corporate interests and influences that run those big media corporations that they operate on. Media is basically major corporations that are combined with maybe even bigger corporations, and their income comes from advertisers, okay? And basically what they're doing is they're selling a product to other businesses, and this product is mainly audiences. So they are buying and selling your attention, okay? And the interests and concerns of the buyers and sellers that are taking part in this business have an immense, it can't be understated, immense and extremely powerful influence and effect on the product of the media. And it's demonstrated. However, to pivot back to the Tucker Carlson and Jon Stewart video, I love how Jon Stewart was genuinely trying to have, you know, an actual conversation with Tucker, but Tucker had nothing to offer him but snide remarks. That in its own right should show you who's serious and who's not serious. And they try to have you believe that they're these serious people that's bringing you the news, and, you know, they're the only ones that can do it. You know, if you watch a show like Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough, the elitist at its finest, you know, he'll have you believe that he's some great chancellor of speech, and, you know, they are these amazing crusaders, you know, that are bringing you real journalism. That's not it at all. They're just propagandists for the establishment and the corporatists and the people that actually run those institutions that they operate within. That's all that it is. Tucker didn't offer any rebuttals to Jon Stewart's remarks, because any meaningful rebuttals, because he had none, because everything he was saying was true. And so all he had, you know, to offer him was the funny comedic guy trying to crack jokes, you know, undermine him. But it's funny because he was doing that, but Jon Stewart was actually making the audience laugh more so than Tucker. So he couldn't even win on that front, which is absolutely hilarious. But I mean, not just this video, but everything that he does, it just shows you, if you really look in between the lines and you have a brain and you're not a partisan hack, this guy's a fake. He's a fake. And it doesn't just start and end with him. It starts and ends with the entire corporate media and establishment media. They're all fakes. And everything that they say, or 98% of it, really means nothing. Every now and again, you'll get a good take, like Fareed Zakaria I covered when he basically dismantled the military-industrial complex. That was amazing. And you'll have things like when that pundit, I think it was on like NBC or something, asked Corey Bush a really good question about the squad. And they'll have instances of, you know, them actually doing good work, but the overwhelming majority of their work is propaganda for the establishment and working within the bounds of what they deem to be acceptable discourse and telling you what they want you to know. You see what happens to actual journalism, right? People like Julian Assange. You get locked away and they try to throw the book at you. That's what happens to real journalism. But look, whether you're a right-winger or a left-winger and you come across this video, there's one thing that I want you to understand. Tucker Carlson, no matter what your opinion may be of him, he is a part of the club. He's a part of the club, no matter what he may tell you, no matter how he may try to portray himself to be an outsider of some sort. He is a part of the club. What club, you may ask? the club of the so-called elites, as they call themselves, and as many others refer to them as, people that are well off, that are there to perform a job, not in your interest, but in the interest of the corporatists that own the political parties that run this country. They're there to toe the line for their interest and their interest only, no matter what they may have you to believe. And it's strikingly obvious to me, but to some, I guess it's not so obvious, which is honestly quite saddening. But it does give me hope. As you can see, with mainstream media and corporate media, their ratings are declining, and that doesn't really affect their income. As I've stated before, their income comes from advertisers, and for this portion of the year at least, they've already secured their advertisements, so that's not really a worry for them. But it is showing you with the upcoming independent media and political commentators on whatever platform they may operate on, that people are turning to them, whether it be Substack, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, that the public is seeking other avenues to try and get their news from, because they're starting to realize the bullshit that they're being fed by corporate media and establishment media, and they're turning away from it. Overall, I wanted to bring this video back because I thought it was so amazing, and it's honestly pretty funny. Jon Stewart's a funny guy, but to end this off, Tucker Carlson, he's a fraud, he's a fake. He gets on his show, he puts on a mask, he paints himself to be this right-wing populist crusader for freedom and all these other ridiculous things. That's not who he is whatsoever. He toes the line for the establishment and the corporatists, and he promotes dangerous speech in many cases, and he doesn't provide anything meaningful to political discourse whatsoever. He'll probably run for president one day, he probably won't win, but moral of the story is he's a fraud. You shouldn't listen to anything that he has to say whatsoever, and he's a guy that really just shouldn't be taken seriously.